Everybody, welcome to C.R.E.A.M episode number 11. I'm really excited, pumped up, and excited. And thank you for listening. If you love this content, please share it as we're now in C.R.E.A.M episode number 11.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
All right. Now on the C.R.E.A.M podcast, we're talking about Amazon.com, by far the biggest company the world has ever seen, bigger than many governments in the world, which is just insane and only getting bigger. So right now, Amazon.com makes an average of $638 million per day, $638 million each and every day, 365 days a year. The thing is, though, that's chump change compared to where their growth projections are. So why don't you share those projections with us?
So this is a crazy number, but they're predicting that by 2030, they're going to make $35.6 billion per day by 2030. Let me say this again, because this is a big number. $35.6 billion per day by 2030. That's a crazy stat.
It's unfathomable. I mean, like, you start thinking about their power and influence at that point. And, a lot of it is online, right? With advertisements on social media and algorithms. And, so, I mean, they're going to, with that amount of money, you could buy every politician, you could buy every election, whether you influence laws or, you're building in communities or you're providing jobs or something. I mean, that's too big. It's more than the government's bringing in per day. So there's got to be some huge tech war coming, whether it's Facebook. Meta is already falling off, but maybe with Amazon and all of them, where there's got to be a huge pushback coming in the next 5 years. I've got to think they're not going to let them grow stronger than the government.
Do you think the government will break them up into different companies like AWS than Amazon, or do you think they have too much influence now? Because remember, Jeff Bezos also owns the Washington Post already.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and then you start thinking about what, spreading that money around, 35 billion per day. They're going to try. There's going to be a bit. I'm not saying that, the Amazon's going to lose this big tech war, but I think that's the next frontier when tech single corporations and they're, whether it's Elon Musk, whether it's Bezos, however you say his name, one tweet, one opinion, and stocks go up and down, markets are affected. I mean, that's too much power and too much money. And so there's got to be some pushback. So I don't know. But
do you think the American people are ready to do a pushback?
No, because American people want cheap TVs and, better tech and, cheap stereos and cheap cars. And, that's all they're really worried about. And they probably only see this on a surface level. I mean, look at, you don't see conspiracy theories about Jeff Bezos, whatever that clown's name is, right? But Bill Gates, who's giving, he's given billions to fight pandemics and AIDS and help people in Africa. And now, did so much to help with vaccine awareness and research and science and all over the world, and giving billions and billions of his own dollars, but he's the brunt of public scorn, right?
Do you think it's public scorn, or do you think so? All right, going to my conspiracy theories, or do you think there's other people in play who are trying to combat Microsoft, especially right now where Microsoft is competing against Metaverse? Do you think they might, in Facebook, do you think they might be putting something out there to give Bill Gates a bad rap as well, to get the people excited and flared?
Not out of the realm of possibility, especially if you look at, the percentage of news, information, how we form our perceptions and reality of the world, what percentage of it is just off of Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, which is friggin' scary. But, with the elections and stuff, and we know it's proven how many false memes and graphics and posts and articles were even by Russia, who were sitting back and laughing as they were sort of stoking the fires of, us versus them in the US. And so, yeah, there could be, I don't know, I'm just a pawn. At least I realize I'm a pawn, but there could be something, why Gates was specifically targeted.
Yeah, definitely. And it was also crazy when we talk about how he went, what you said about how he went like cheap stuff. One problem I think us as Americans have is we're way too short sighted. Just because something's cheap right now, we don't understand or have a long term, don't understand the long term effects of just having cheap products. And it's been like this for like the last 30 years.
Yeah.
And we still haven't realized the cost that you have for all these cheap benefits, far as quality of life diminish, incomes has been flattened out in this country, the wealth gap, how the workers benefits are not the same as they used to, but all because we're buying cheap stuff and it's almost like we're asleep when it comes to it.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's interesting. Like everyone talks about, like in human history, the seminal or monumental eras, with the Bronze Age, the blah blah blah, the invention of the wheel, the Industrial Age with steam engines, and then of course there's the computer age, which is a huge one. But what did that really bring? Of course, it was dissemination of information around the globe, but what people don't talk about is just cheap technology. And with technology, we always want cheaper, and the stuff is like outdated after 6 months. And so that's a big problem too. That's like set us back, like for all the reasons you just pointed out. So it's maybe not all good, all this technology, and that we want it so cheap. There's no such thing as quality anymore.
No such thing as quality. I know growing up,
Yeah.
you got like a watch. My mom had the same washer and dryer like my whole life growing up. It was no problem, right? You might have a repair guy come fix it one day and that's it. But now you get a washer and dryer after a couple of years, you have to get another one because it's almost like they have it on a timer where they know as soon as the warranty expires, it's going to break down. You have to buy another one.
Oh, 100%. They know these parts. I mean, if you have, 89 parts in let's say a refrigerator, they know which 2 parts are going to break, and they have algorithms exactly when they're going to break within a certain margin of error. And like you said, when the warranty or when they put out sales, when they it's crazy. But and then of course they'll offer you all the cheap financing or 0% down and stuff just to get you to buy the next one. But I think back of, we all had this. Remember, everyone used to have a TV that was built into a wooden cabinet, right? And it was so big and so heavy, you literally couldn't move it, yet alone get it out of your living room. No one knew how it even got in the living room, but you had that thing for like 40 years, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I know we're getting off the point of Amazon.com, but my guess is something's got to give before Amazon's making 35 billion per day.
When people are ready to hold their politicians accountable for Amazon and willing to break them up like they did, and then during the industrial age with Stanford and Rockefeller, that's when the day is going to happen. So,
here's the thing too. We talked about how these companies have iconic leaders that are so tied to their personalities. There was Steve Jobs, and then Bill Gates. There's Elon Musk, and Bezos might screw up. I mean, he might go to space and not come back one time, or he might get married again and have to pay, and God bless his ex-wife. She's like my hero. She's giving so much money to charities. It's insane. So
her new husband is my hero. Him being just a teacher and marrying somebody that wealthy. So
yeah. We'll have to do another segment on them, give them some shine, but maybe Bezos will do something super stupid and he'll try to put a robot part in his brain and screw it up or something, but we'll see.
Yeah, we definitely will see.
All right, Jason, one of the things that has hit the news lately, not in the US, but in other parts of the world, which is super fun and encouraging, is the prevalence of a 4-day work week. In Belgium, in I think some parts of UK, some parts of Hong Kong, maybe. And now I'm just making stuff up. I have no idea. But I've seen a lot of articles about the 4-day work week has become law in some of these other places, and it's working really, really well, and productivity is actually up. So what do you think about a 4-day work week, and will we ever see one in the US?
It seems like we're more and more leaning towards it. I don't think we're going to see a government policy for it, but I think more companies are leaning towards a 4-day work week, especially in the white collar jobs. We're seeing more 4-day work weeks. The question is your income still going to be the same at the 4-day work week, or are they going to cut off, or you don't pay for that last day, so you only get 80% of your pay?
And maybe it's part of the whole hybrid experience. Maybe it's like, hey, you could Friday you could stay home and just log on and for this meeting, or just get these things done, or put in 2-3 hours, or it could be a part of that, since there's so much shifting now in the trends of the workplace, whether it's virtual, hybrid, anyways. Maybe it sort of builds itself into that.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, baking into it. That's a good point.
But I mean, Americans are so, I mean, we work more hours than anyone in the world, other than maybe Japan, who literally work themselves to death. And so I don't know if I doubt a 4-day work week would ever come in the US. I just don't see that happening on a national or legislative level. But like you said, it could be that companies are starting to dangle that. And the research shows, whether people stay a little bit longer the other 4 days, so it still comes close to 40 hours, or they're just way more productive and there's camaraderie and they're grateful and, they're really getting stuff done. The productivity is actually up with a 4-day work week.
Yeah.
I know I'm going for I'm waiting for a 2-day work week, but you keep giving me more work. So
yeah, you're right. Do you think that's just European cultures going 4-day work week, while you see in Asia where they, like China's also like that, where I think where they do like 12/6s or something like that, where is the Eastern culture to work a lot of hours?
Not really, because there's also other, I think it's, China is so industrialist. Japan was so industrialist, after World War II, and it became a part of their culture. Korea, but Japan particularly, they just work themselves to death. It's insane. But I don't think it's a Asian, nation type thing, or that region of the world at all. Again, US is probably leading the way. So yeah, I don't, but definitely Europe, I know they value, whether it's Portugal. Here's another one. Portugal just instituted a law that your boss or manager can't text or call you after work hours.
No way.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. They can't even contact you. So they can't try to ninja in some, hey, could you log on and tell me what those numbers were, or could you finish this report? Or it's illegal for your boss or manager to contact you via text or a phone call, or probably email. I'm not sure. Well, maybe not email, because you could check it at your own whim, but after work hours, they literally cannot contact you.
Wow, because people are stay connected so much to work these days, where it's actually not a time limit from like 9 to 5. It's like whenever somebody texts you, or yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, and with hybrid work or virtual work, people are like, yeah, I get to work from home. But then a lot of people were like, my God, it never stops. I just, and me and you, that's no problem. We work around the clock anyways, basically. But for a lot of people, that just burnt them out even more. But yeah, so I might move to Portugal just so you can't call or text me as much. Huh?
Nice. Go ahead. I'll visit you out there in Lisbon.
You'll perfect. Find me. You'll find me, huh?
You definitely.
Oh, man.
Everybody, we got C.R.E.A.M t-shirts on the way. If you like a C.R.E.A.M t-shirt, email us at jasonmatthews@mfis.biz. By the way, what other swag content should I get? Should we get wristbands? Should we get hats? Should we get water bottles? Please let us know what favorite swag you love. Maybe this might be a private label bourbon, cream bourbon. Who knows? But let us know what your favorite ideas are for some swag.
Yeah, this is a long time coming. I'm so excited about this. The Cash Rules Everything Around Me podcast is finally going to have some swag. So I know I would like a t-shirt, a coffee cup, or a coffee mug, like to bring to work. And then also maybe stickers. I'd love to throw one of those stickers right on my computer.
You got it, man.
All right. Cash Rules Everything Around Me podcast swag is coming out. So contact us or email Jason if you want to get some. All right. Now, Jason, you are a voracious reader, as they say, voracious. And you're always posting on Instagram, on Facebook about new books you're reading, some of the best books from business, from self-help, personal development. And so I'm trying to keep up with you. I'm always like, oh, yeah, I'm going to read that. And I'm like, oh, my God, when does he have time to read it? So what are you reading now? And what do you really like lately?
The last book I finished was 2 books I recently read. One was Atomic Habits, which is really good about small things you can do for better habits. For instance, book has got me think about it is if you want to eat more fruit, instead of keeping it in a bottom refrigerator, have that fruit out in the open in your house and you're naturally going to eat that fruit.
Mm, interesting. Those small little subtle shifts that make a big deal, huh? Like, like if you want to learn another language, right? You put the notebook right on your nightstand or right on your desk where you're going to see it instead of in a drawer, or those small things make a difference, huh?
Right. Or you want to drink more water, keep the water next to your nightstand at night and then keep it somewhere else. And you just naturally drink more water throughout the day. So those little small things it can definitely help you out.
That's great. So that's Atomic Habits by James Clear, is it?
Yes.
James
You're
Clear,
good,
yeah.
man.
I know about it. I just haven't had time to read it, but well, no, I need to make time to read it, but I get the gist of it, But what else have you read lately that you really like?
Right now, I'm in the middle of the reading this book called "Get Different or Be Different." It's from one of my favorite business authors who wrote The Pumpkin Plan, which I really like. The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, which was one of my favorite business books, and then also Profit First. But it just talks about how to be just different in the marketplace. It's a really good book for anybody who has a business and how they can make noise. Just the little things that just makes you different than what everybody else is, especially in this world where we have so much noise, so much content, our attention span is so short. How to just keep up and just make yourself a little bit different out there, which is really good.
Oh, that's great. I'm definitely going to check those out. And if any of our listeners have a book that they've read that they recommend, definitely give us a shout out and we'll check it out. I'll have Jason read it. I'm not going to read it. I'll have Jason do
it. I read for them. That works.
All right, Jason, now I know you had a big night last night. You went to a great community event and you wanted to tell us a little about it and show some love.
Yeah, I want to give some love to the Black Vines event I went to yesterday. Had about 40 different Black wineries there, which is really dope. A lot of wine, a lot of drinking, really good people in a really good community that was just there. So definitely give a shout out to Fern Stroud with her Black Vines event, which is the biggest wine festival in the country.
That's fantastic. I know you told me about that ahead of time. And where was that, in Oakland?
It was in Berkeley, California.
It was in
Berkeley. Really good event. A lot of great connecting with people, learn a lot about wines and what it takes for a lot of these winemakers to make the wine. You really listen to the owners and the winemakers on the process of it. And it's really cool. Maybe I'll make a private label cream wine.
Yeah, there you go. But then I know you're a whiskey bourbon kind of guy, right? A spirits guy. So maybe, and we had on some great gin makers before. So maybe we need to talk about swag, the cream, limited edition whiskey or something.
Whiskey, wine, everything. If Earl Stevens can make wine, tequila, beer, tequila, E40 can.
That's another one that everyone's doing, right?
E40 has everything. I can do the same thing. E40 got wine to dog food, to sausage, to lumpias, to gin, bourbon, whiskey, and even slurricane. So I can follow his route.
That's great. That's great. Hey, let's do it all. But that sounds like a great event. And that's an annual thing, right? This is something that they do every year.
Yeah, I think this year was like the 11th year. Last year they didn't do it because of COVID. So this is the first one since COVID. And the last one before that was like a week before COVID. That was like the last social event outing I went to right before COVID hit and the whole world shut down. So that was really dope to be able to come back after a couple of years of not having it because of COVID.
Yeah, and I know a year goes by very quickly. So already, if people want to get involved, if they want more information, if they want to be a sponsor or have a booth or bring their product or service or anything like that, they could contact you and you'll tell them more about the event.
Yep, definitely will do. And I want to give a shout out to my son's baseball team and program, Show California. They do a lot of great things for the youth in and around the state of California, as far as giving them exposure, helping them with the development and turning these boys into men. So I definitely want to give a shout out to D Brown and Show California baseball program.
Hey, that's great. I know you're a big baseball family and your boys play baseball, and soon Adonis is going to be up there hitting home runs too, huh?
Yep. Shortly, but surely he will be doing that.
Now, how soon until you could field your own family baseball team? Are we getting close to that?
I need about 6 more. 6 more.
You need a couple of relief pitchers on the way, huh?
Yeah, I need some relief pitchers. I need an outfield. Yeah, we got the left side of infield. Infield's getting together. We need 6 more pieces.
You might need a couple left-handers too. A designated hitter. You got a while to go, huh?
Yeah, a while ago. You have to go. You have to have one of those old school families where they had 8, 9, 10, 15 kids, which is crazy.
I know. Oh, that's great. Well, wonderful. I know you're very involved in the baseball and in the community, and we've talked about youth sports before and how important it is for everyone. So definitely that's great that you're giving them a shout out today.
Everybody, today on the C.R.E.A.M podcast, we have our special guest, Patrick P.J. Johnson. Patrick P.J. Johnson has been in the insurance and financial world now for 39 years, approaching his 40th anniversary. He's holds his designation in the CLU and CLTC designations. And he just came out with his latest article about long-term care that was published in a financial services magazine in California. PJ, thank you for getting on the C.R.E.A.M podcast today. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. It's been great. And Happy New Year to you. Glad we're here.
Definitely Happy New Year to you as well. And I think, I'm on a lot of people don't know that I'm on the board for Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay. What we're seeing now is that it's going to be harder and harder for a lot of these nonprofits to survive with people not having enough money to take care of it. And there's not going to be much government aid that is needed to take care of people who might need assistance in the long term. So the quality of life for people going to definitely diminish over the long period of time.
When people are looking at assisted living, the quote I gave you, $4,500 a month in Sacramento. I mean, you can go on to, website, the cost of care, and you can put it in by county, or you can start calling around. But that's sort of the entry level. And, working with Jennifer Coons when she was at C.R.E.A.M, you met her a couple of years ago at a meeting, and the fact that they have 6 different levels after the entry level, and each level goes up, $400 or $500. And then Alzheimer's obviously is the most expensive because that's around the clock care. And so, yeah, it can get up there. It's not going to get cheaper. And I say that because we've been watching it go up 2.5% or something, but it's harder to find good caregivers, either at home or at assisted living. And it's just getting harder to find that employee. And we're going to need more of them. This is not going away.
Yeah. You see the shortfall everywhere. And I know for care, it's going to be a huge shortfall. And it's only going to be the people who can afford it going to get the proper care, because those people who are in the field are going to ask for more and more money. So unless you have tons of money in reserves, you have to look at some type of long-term care plan or look at family members. And now people have huge amount of student loan debt and take care of their family. So it definitely diminishes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think home health care is where people want to go. Of course, COVID helped that a lot. Obviously a lot of the assisted living facilities weren't ready for COVID, but in your family too. I mean, they want to stay at home. They want someone to watch them. I think pricey here in Sacramento, about 28 to 32 an hour. Obviously, it's going to be based on the zip code you're at. I was just reading the Wall Street about an assisted living facility that just opened in San Francisco for the ultra wealthy, and it's starting at $15,000. It's got to be ridiculous in there. I mean, it's just got to be, limo rides and whatnot. But, there's care for everybody, and it doesn't matter your asset base, because you're buying a leveraged product is all you're trying to do, and have something there. And, when I bought it in 2005, I bought the 5% increase. I get a letter every year from the carrier, and I started at $150 a day, $150 a day benefit. And it's way up there right now. I mean, it's around $9,000 a month, which, who would have guessed when we purchased that, here we are. That could be a reality. You just don't know.
Yeah,
we got it.
Yeah, you simply don't know. And you think you got it. And I know, talking about, we was having this conversation, me and Alzheimer's Services, the East Bay, since I'm sitting as the board president, and we talked about how many nonprofits have who just rely just simply on government programs have disappeared because they simply can't, they're not getting the reimbursement like they once were from the government. So unless they have people who have private pay and have the money, if they don't have enough of those people, those places are closing. And then the question is, who give those people the care that they need? And you're not, and those, you're simply just not getting the care. And you hear crazy stories of it. I remember my good friend, he talked about his father a couple of years ago. I remember before he passed away, the horrible care that his father got. Well, and it was a very low end place, and the quality care was horrible. Where one time he sat down and in a chair, and the chair had his father urinated. His didn't have the best care, So you get what you pay for oftentimes in life. So we have to remember that. Yeah. So we definitely have to remember that.
And I've been in a lot of these facilities, meeting people, checking them out. They're nice facilities. You got some big national chains out there, and of course in the East Bay, you got C.R.E.A.M out there and a bunch of other ones, and they're run by good people, and they mean well, and they really like clients coming in that have a policy, because they realize that it's not going to disrupt the family situation. Guests are obviously very happy that mom or dad's in there. And in fact, you met Jennifer a year or so ago. Her mom and dad both passed away in Walnut Creek at the facility in the late 80s, and it was a good situation for them.
Yeah. And I think they said, well, most care is not actually at a facility, it's actually at a home. Am I correct?
Say again?
They said most people care is usually at a facility, not at a home, not at a facility, correct?
Well, they want to start at home and stay at home as long as possible, but at some point in time, based on the family situations, there's a lot of single people out there. You got single female, maybe a divorce or a widow, or not married and no kids. I mean, who's going to take care of them? Mm-hmm. And so, in a lot of times us guys die first. So now they're leaving mom. We've got to have a policy on mom. That's for sure.
Right. I went to the Trilogy in Rio Vista, and you see I seen a whole lot of single women in Trilogy just a couple weeks ago. And you don't see that many guys, and the guys are the hottest thing there because there's not that many men that live there. So you're absolutely right about that. So what are some current bells and whistles that consumers and futures that clients are seeing today in the long-term care market?
Well, there's a lot of exciting new things in California now, and California always seems to be the last state to approve anything. I don't know why, but we're enjoying a lot of new things. You can get a new type of third pool of shared care, Jason, which means that if you have a couple and they're buying a joint policy, they're both going to have a certain amount of coverage, but they can buy a third pool that's equal to that either one can tap into at a big discount. So there's a new third pool. There's good couples discount pricing. I've seen single pay cases where the husband's free. I mean, they're basing it on the wife's and the oldest age on some of those things. Also in California for the first time now, it used to be only you could pay as you go. You can do a 10 pay now or a single pay. And we're getting a lot of people looking at the single pay because it's one time guaranteed, no increase in cost ever, and you're all done. And the other thing we have in California is a lifetime benefit. So you didn't want to choose a 2, 3, 4, 5, and you thought maybe Alzheimer's was going to be in the family. You can get a lifetime benefit now. And I can illustrate those things for you. And then the other exciting thing that happened in California recently is a client can do what's called a 1035 tax-free exchange of a non-qualified annuity into long-term care. So if somebody has purchased an annuity They don't need the income anymore. They're they're going to put it to better use. They can 1035 that tax free, and we can use those proceeds and do a single pay on the long-term care. And some annuity carriers allow a partial withdrawal. Maybe they don't want to do the whole thing. We just have to ask that question. But that's really exciting in California. That just happened in the past year. Really, really big feature. So the consumer has, Jason, lots of ways to turn. I'm usually running lots of different types of proposals, but as you talk to your clients, you're understanding where their asset base is. You're understanding where their cash flow is. And you're talking about the psychology of this sale. Have they seen this in their family? Have they not? Are they insurance purchasers? What are their thoughts on the topic? And it's a real psychological sale too, from that matter. And so as you do all your homework and do fact finding, you can kind of just peel away the onion and figure out, what's the best plan design for any client, and go from there.
Yeah, definitely. And when we talk about long-term care, what do you see that age where you really should start thinking about long-term care?
50 to 60 is kind of your sweet spot because it's going to be priced better, Jason. And more than likely, there's not a health problem. But, as I know that people start looking at it a little bit more seriously, 65 and up. I mean, I still get a lot of calls, higher, older ages. So we're happy to do the work. We got to do the pre-qualification. And then they've just got to be ready for a little bit more expensive policy. So, that goes back to, well, what is the cash flow? What can they afford a month? Or do they have a $100,000 sitting around? They want to do a single premium or something along those lines. But the sooner the better. And it is, I think I bought at 50. Probably wasn't thinking a lot about long-term care at 50, but at the time it was a corporate perk, and I took it, and I'm sure glad I did.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great decision you made, especially the changes.
Yeah.
And now you're saying you're bringing back lifetime income benefits. When I first started off in my career, I was with New York Life. And I remember after the '08 financial crisis, New York Life got rid of the lifetime benefits. And I think most carriers did. So it's very exciting that now you're hearing that companies are doing lifetime benefits all over again.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just, you can just look at the price and just see that matches the pocketbook or not. And the consumer's got a lot of great choices, and, we'll do our best to do the pre-underwriting from that standpoint, and then, then move forward. And then after that, like I said, it's just telephone call or a home visit, and the application process in California now as well is online. Jason, you could be talking to somebody in San Diego and do the application online today. So everybody's getting used to that, Zoom calls, and you could drop the ticket without sitting at the kitchen table with paper. I mean, you can do paper, but you don't have to anymore, most of these carriers. So they're making it easier, and it's a fun marketplace to be in.
Yeah. Peter, before we let you off, any other final words about long-term care?
Well, you want to work with somebody like yourself that's been at this a while, that knows what they're doing. You're working with our agency. We represent every single carrier in California, so we know what's out there. We're trying as hard as we can to make you look good, running the numbers and the underwriting, and pushing forward, and start having those discussions, at home, and with the kids. Bring the kids in, and have those discussions, and continue just educating yourself. Anybody that wants my article, Jason, it's only about 1,000 words, but it's a quick read. Certainly a lot of information out there. All the carriers have good brochures on these topics, and they can start educating themselves. And, obviously you want to be looking at making sure that your revocable living trust is up to speed, with your new durable powers of California, care directives, power of attorney, those types of things. You want to coincide this with your not only your retirement plan, but your overall estate plan. And that's just word to the wise to get those things done, and making sure that your California long-term care directive is up to speed.
Definitely. Thank you so much, PJ, for being on here.
All right, Jason. Thank you so much. Have a great new year. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
So, Jason, that wraps up this episode of the C.R.E.A.M podcast. Thank everyone for listening. Thank you for jumping on, especially since you have a new baby boy and you have a lot of responsibilities, a lot to do today. But cash rules everything around me. C.R.E.A.M must go on, huh?
Yep. Dollar bills, y'all.